so I sorta disappeared again. And some of you have seen this as an opportunity to absolutely lose your fucking minds. You know things are bad when people start wondering if maybe the reason you haven't uploaded is because you've committed a serious crime. Guys, don't worry. I'm pretty sure the Child Predator DLC activates at 1 million subs. I've got some time. On the topic of children, today I want to talk about a show from my childhood. A show that I remember being incredibly excited for and then progressively getting more and more disappointed with until eventually it was erased from memory. Deadman Wonderland is a 2011 anime about the American high school experience, wrongful imprisonment, and the lifelong burden of befriending a bipolar woman. Following a massive earthquake, over 70% of Tokyo disappears into the ocean. As part of the recovery process, Japan builds its first privately owned correctional facility, Deadman Wonderland. In an effort to attract tourism to the damaged capital, the prison doubles as a morally questionable amusement park in which the inmates seemingly risk their lives to perform in dangerous carnival games. To relieve spectators of any guilt that they may feel, the performances are marketed as fake. The prisoners consented to this. The blood is special effects, and the visceral screams are just really good acting. And even if some of it is real, who cares? They're all criminals. Now you might be thinking, wait, this sounds kind of sick. How could they possibly fuck this up? It's a shonen, which means that the main character is by far the worst character. In this case, he hasn't hit puberty.
Stop! You're hurting me!
Which raises the question, how does a child end up in prison? Ganta is a middle schooler who's having the worst day of his short life. After mysterious circumstances, his classmates have been subtracted from the population, and the only person their grieving families have to blame is the sole survivor. Luckily, the Japanese legal process will surely determine that there is no way a 14-year-old could 1v30 a room full of people. Ganta just has to appeal the logic and win the jury over.
I'm innocent. I swear it.
J-Lo.
Who in the hell is that?
Kantai Garashi.
He loses his case. It's through Ganta's naive, wrongfully convicted eyes that the secrets of Deadman Wonderland are gradually revealed. Shockingly, the inmates are not performing voluntarily. To maintain obedience, each prisoner wears a neck collar that constantly poisons them. Every 3 days, an antidote needs to be taken to weaken the poison, or else. To get this antidote, the prisoners need to buy it. Deadman Wonderland operates on its own monetary system called caste points. It has a very unfortunate acronym. Earned through participation, these points can buy close to anything: contraband, sentence reductions, and even life itself. Or at least 3 days of it. As Ganta tries to wrap his head around this overcomplicated system of forced labor, he runs into an even bigger problem. Operating from within the prison is a well-funded shadow organization led by a very blatantly autistic man, which for some reason has taken an interest in gang stalking the traumatized 14-year-old. Speaking of which, I've seen the same blue car pass by my window 6 times this week. I don't have neighbors. I no longer feel safe in my own home. Because of this, I've had some trouble sleeping. That's where the sponsor of today's video, Manta Sleep, comes in. Manta Sleep is a company focused on improving your nightly routine with high quality products that make getting a good night's rest as easy as possible. From white noise machines to heating pads, they offer something for every type of sleeper. The product that I've been using is the Manta Sleep Mask Sound, which combines the comfort of a regular Manta Sleep mask with the convenience of Bluetooth headphones. Now when I go to bed, I can drown out the voices with soothing music that helps my mind fade to black. Manta Sleep masks are engineered to get rid of any distractions by completely blocking out light and ensure a comfortable fit by using adjustable materials. If the sound mask isn't your thing, then Manta Sleep also offers models such as the silk mask, weighted mask, and cool mask, so you're sure to find something that will increase your sleep quality. If you're interested, Manta Sleep is having their biggest sale of the year for Black Friday from November 29th to December 3rd. You can use my code BONES at checkout or click on the link in the description for 10% off your order. Alright, back on topic. Deadman Wonderland's premise is probably the biggest thing it has going for it. In fact, it's awfully similar to one of the most popular shows of all time. The issue is that 90% of what I explained happens in the first episode. The anime suffers from 3 major problems. The first is that it can't stick to a fucking subject. This is only a 12-episode show, and and the studio intended to make the most of their limited time. They did this by moving through everything as fast as possible. Plot points and characters are introduced almost as fast as they're abandoned. In the span of, once again, 12 episodes, Ganta gets jumped into the Bloods, visits O-Block, uncovers an organ harvesting operation, has a tournament arc, has a training arc, stops a sexual assault, and attempts to break out of prison. The pace makes it feel less like you're experiencing a story for the first time and more like you're watching a season recap. As a result, most of the show's characters can be reduced down to a couple adjectives: whiny, punchable, invincible, remedial, pedophile. Consequently, any heartfelt or emotional moment automatically falls flat. Anytime the sad music started fading in, my arm reflexively shot out for my phone. While the show's pace is definitely unreasonably fast, the damage can be reduced by making the story as easy to follow as possible. Coincidentally, Deadman Wonderland's second major issue is that the plot is convoluted as shit. This anime suffers from Evangelion syndrome, where sometimes, mid-sentence, a character will name drop some esoteric term conjured from deep within the corners of their ass, and then immediately move on like it's common knowledge.
If the egg begins to laugh again, we're done for. Lose the goose, and no more golden eggs.
The Mother Goose system is back online. We've locked onto the wretched egg's wavelength.
Part of why the dialogue sounds like cryptic fortune cookie language is that the anime was pretty obviously building up toward a second season. Thing is, the studio went bankrupt, so now the show forever exists as half of an unfinished story. The third and final major issue is that the anime suffers from an identity crisis. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a shonen, about gore. You might see how this is a problem. In order to get the anime shown to its target demographic, it had to be censored. The producers went about this in the laziest way possible, because the censorship is just black blurs applied on top of pre-existing footage. So, Deadman Wonderland fails as a thriller because of the pace. It fails as an action show because it looks like someone spilled coffee on it. Is the anime just ass? No. Surprisingly, I definitely enjoyed watching it more this time around. I genuinely do not understand how this show doesn't have a comedy tag. There were so many quotables.
I hear he even has biceps on his cock.
Someday I'm gonna fuck you in half. Not every day you get to rub shoulders with a celebrity. Will you fucking fall already?
Most of these came from a single character, the show's saving grace, an MMA fighter imprisoned for domestic violence. Shocking, I know. Now, he doesn't live very long, but he definitely lives on in my heart. The brightest lights burn out the fastest. The interesting thing about the show's comedy is that you can't tell whether it's funny on purpose or not. It's hard to explain until you've actually seen it, but at times the writing feels like it's actively making fun of the main character, while Ganta is in an edgy action shonen, dropping middle school dialogue about the power of friendship and shit. The people around him think he's annoying and make fun of him. What makes me question if this was done intentionally is that for every moment of self-aware dialogue with solid comedic timing, there is an equally awful moment that takes itself too seriously and is impossible to sit through. For example, there's an entire episode dedicated to what can only be described as two preteens going through a divorce.
You're all the same, all of you! You talk like men but squeal like virgins!
I refuse to believe that this was written by the same person as the MMA fighter. To wrap things up, a while ago, I got a comment about how my videos end too abruptly and lack impact. I agree, so now I'm gonna attempt to tie everything together nicely and write a heartfelt conclusion. Art is about subjectivity. And if you subjectively recontextualize Deadman Wonderland as a show about a Japanese boy being introduced to the world of Chicago gang violence, it literally fixes all of the show's problems. Ganta's voice goes from ruining the dialogue to enhancing it.
T-block, huh? Watch your back, Red Man. I know where you're hiding, and as soon as I find it, I'm coming for you.
Good entertainment is a matter of perspective, and the perspective I choose is brain damage.